So most movies, it takes like a dozen weeks to make a movie.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a real big film, maybe a few months, but...
This film took a dozen years. They knew that from the outset. It's called Boyhood. It opens tomorrow. Pretty good cast. Ethan Hawke and...
Patricia Arquette.
Patricia Arquette. We talked to her about this really wild, interesting film. You know, the director comes to her and doesn't say, what are you doing for the next couple of months?
They said, what are you doing for the next 12 years? We were kind of like intrigued by how someone actually signs up and commits to a movie that will take 12 years to make.
All right.
Here's Patricia.
It was really easy to commit to it. It just seemed like a beautiful idea. I already had a 12-year-old son. I'd seen how fast he'd grown up. And I love speed motion photography, where like a seed starts growing and then you see it bloom and then decay. And I wanted to see the kids grow up on screen. I wanted to see me and Ethan get older.
Why? But why? Because traditionally in Hollywood, you take one kid who plays one age, and then you either give him makeup or you get another kid who plays an older age, and so on. This guy decided to have the same kid for 12 years. Why did he do that? It's an interesting idea, but why?
Well, I know that he wanted to tell a story about childhood, and he was thinking about things in his own childhood, and he was a father at that point. His daughter was 6. And he didn't know what year to concentrate on, and he was like, I don't really want to cast different people. They can look similar, but do they really have the same essence, I think. And when you watch this movie, you really feel like this is your nephew, this is someone you grew up with. You really are watching these kids grow up.
So was there a script or was there an outline? How do you do this for 12 years?
Right, so first he told me, you know,
the director.
Yes, Richard Linklater said, you know, I'm thinking about shooting this movie a year for 12 years. And I was like, so excited. And I said, are you interested in me? And he said, yeah, would you be interested? And I was like, yeah, I'm in. And I said, well, what's my part? And he said, the mother. And then I said, great, well, I guess I should read a script. And he was like, I don't really have a script. But he did tell me the changes, the major changes that would happen to our family and happen to my character, and those remained. But every year, a few months before, a few weeks before, he'd call and say, okay, you're gonna have a scene with the kids in the car. You guys are packing to move. The kids don't want to move. And he'd write a rough draft of that scene. We'd all meet together. We'd improvise. He'd say, I like that little thing you said. Let's add that. That little thing that your cousin said. That's interesting. And then we would shoot the scene.
Can we see you in action in Boyhood? We have a clip from the movie right now.
Goodbye, yard. Goodbye, crepe myrtle. Goodbye, mailbox. Goodbye, box of stuff Mommy won't let us take with us, but we don't want to throw away. Goodbye, house. I'll never like Mommy as much for making us move.
Samantha, why don't you say goodbye to that little attitude, okay? Because we're not taking that in the car.
Goodbye, old lady. Listen to rock music and ride the motorcycle.
Ready to have some fun?
Yeah!
Seems very realistic. What was this, year 5, year 6? Do you recognize it?
No, that was really early on.
That was early on.
Yeah.
Now, like, okay, every year for 12 years, when? Like in April, you all got together for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month? How did it work?
It wasn't always the same time every year, because Rick would be shooting a movie, I was working on medium, Ethan was working on something. Whenever I'd get a project, or any of us would get a project, or we wanted to have a family vacation, we'd call and say, hey, do these dates work for you guys? It would build on itself. It was like summer camp. It was this beautiful experience where even the crew would come back. Even though they'd move up the ladder and have like higher positions 12 years later, they'd come back and do the little job they started with, just to be a part of this.
So is this a tearjerker? Because like I get a feeling like we're gonna...
You know, people laugh and some people cry and some people laugh again. And it's a little bit of everything. It's really about the love of family and the little moments in between. You don't see the first time the boy drinks a beer, the first time he makes out with a girl. It's the other little moments.
I want to talk about this kid, the boy in Boyhood. It starts at 6. He's a non-actor. You got to stay with him for 12 years. He becomes 18. I mean, a lot could have happened to this kid along the way. He could have, who knows? I mean, it's a lot to invest in one child who's a non-actor. You must have freaked out a couple of times.
You know what? I never did. I never did, because his parents were really cool. They were artists. They were really into the project. He was interested in the project. And Ethan and I were professionals. Of course, we gave our word we were going to show up. You can't contractually obligate someone past 7 years. So it was just an honor system that people were continuing to show up. But we also loved making it, so we wanted to show up. I was actually, the only thing that was hard was last year when we were finishing. I was like, no, I don't. And I love finishing. I love ending things.
Are there plans to maybe bring this back at another point?
Adolescence.
No, not at this point.
Patricia Arquette, we are fascinated. Boyhood comes out Friday, pretty much everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you.
Say hello to the
Thanks, guys.
family.